I got a video. I'm gonna go after. See what we got here. That button.
Joe Biden has been elected the 46th president in the United States in a historic and overwhelming repudiation of Donald Trump.
To be fair, both sides had historic, massive turnout. And like, man, I'm like 6 seconds into this video, there's already like inaccuracies. Both parties had massive turnout. The only problem is the Democratic Party underperformed. Biden should have had like 320 electoral votes. Most places were guessing. The really optimistic ones were 350 electoral votes, which is not really going to happen. It obviously didn't. He's getting like 306. So like, even the most pessimistic, like there are states where Democrats should have won by like 8 points. The Nomiki show, like she was pointing that out on Sam Cedar show. It's bad. 6 seconds. I've already found stuff that's wrong.
It ended with Rudy Giuliani screaming outside a landscaping company, and now near the entire Republican Party is in lockstep behind Trump as he tries to delegitimize and steal the election. For more on this,
delegitimize, yeah. Steal, he's not going to. Like, the odds are so low, they're basically not going to happen.
well, our long national acid trip is almost over, and now it's time to pop the bonnet pin and let our designated driver take us home. On Saturday, all the major...
And where's home? God, these things are so substantiveless. I can't believe that. For a long time, I would go to late night for news. That is the worst place to get your news from.
Your networks.
I learn more from like Vosh or Sam Cedar or Kyle Kalinske or any of them, and I learn more from them in 20 seconds than I will for 15 minutes of this place, of this video.
Followed the presidential election for Joe Biden, and I have to say, even I'm surprised at just how relieved I am that we don't have to suffer through another 4 years of Donald Trump.
Why? He's never gonna say why. Is it the mean tweets?
Single most annoying human being on the face of the earth.
Yep, it's the mean tweets. That's all they care about. He's rich. He doesn't care. He knows that Biden's not gonna tax him too much. Like, he's a rich person. He does what rich people like. The only thing he doesn't like about Trump, most likely, is that he's a Republican and that he has mean tweets and that he's unprofessional. That's probably it.
Even if you put aside everything else about him, the racism, morality, cruelty, corruption, mentality, vindictiveness, and flagrant disregard for any life other than his own.
Okay.
He is still just a world historically irritating man. And the most irritating thing about him was my and many people's absolute round-the-clock inability to look away. For 4 years, it has been genuinely necessary to monitor the president 24 hours a day, like zoologists staring at 2 endangered rhinos hoping they'll have sex. I mean, can you imagine living through another 4 years of having to see his sweaty, overcooked ham of a face on your television every day?
1 minute and 20 seconds. And there's still no substance at all. There's none.
Whining about toilets not flushing or windmills killing birds, barking at reporters on his lawn like a Long Island mattress store owner who insists on doing his own commercials and putting all his weird asymmetrical adult children in them. So come on down to Oceanside Mattress and use the promo code Shut Up and Lay Down. And thank God, we won't have to watch him dance at his rallies anymore like the naked guy.
Nobody gives a fucking half. Nobody gives half a shit about that stuff.
Towel to dry the back of his neck. At this point, in addition to preserving what's left of our democracy and reversing 4 years of racism, savagery, and criminal neglect, getting rid of Trump is a quality of life issue, like calling 311 about a jackhammer outside your apartment. And clearly, everyone indulging yourself in the joy and catharsis of seeing this deeply wretched husk of a man thrown out on his ass. As the results came in over the last few days, culminating with the official call from the networks on Saturday. Celebrations across the country, people dancing in the streets, honking and banging in New York City, flipping off Trump's motorcade in D.C., dressing up as mailboxes in Philadelphia, and trolling Trump by blasting what has become his campaign's theme music, the YMCA song. It's just fantastic, and I love they're doing it right outside the White House. It's like playing New York, outside of Fenway Park. I like to imagine that while this was happening, there was also a sad flotilla of Trump's voters mournfully pulling the waters off Clearwater Beach to a funeral dirge version of YMCA. Why, God? Why? MCA. Dancing crowds weren't the only people overjoyed by the fact that we'll soon be rid of Donald Trump.
That wasn't even funny. The why God why MCA. Like, come on, dude. That's the best you got? You need to fire your writers. That's horrible.
Joe Biden himself, who's bounding out for his victory speech like a journeyman reliever jogging out from the bullpen after finally getting called up to the big leagues. It's nice to get Quaid from the rookie after 4 years of Quaid from Total Recall. I know in one case it's the actor's name and in the other it's the character's name, but the joke is for Andy Samberg. It's fine. Anyway, I think we can all admit that when we were watching Biden jog out, we were only hoping he would. 77-year-old man exerts himself like that. It's a white-knuckle ride. Biden's definitely his grandpas who insist on doing everything himself. Grandpa, it's 5 in the morning. Where are you going? I'm going to show the sidewalk before my back pills wear off. And then Biden spoke for the first time as president-elect. And I mean this in the best possible way. I remember very little of it. Like, I think he said stuff about healing our divides or unifying the country or whatever. Honestly, no.
This is horrible.
Spoke to the nation. I didn't immediately Google Canada, how moved to. And then today, Biden announced a task force of experts who will guide him in dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, which, let's not forget, is currently ravaging the country, uncontrolled with ICUs filling up and hospitalizations nearing record levels. And yet, as the crisis was continuing to spiral, the current president was moping around his private golf course like a Palm Beach dentist after a messy divorce. And that's also where Trump was when the race was called for Biden on Saturday, which is just perfect. Surprised he didn't just stay out there. Just leave me here. I live with the geese now. I wonder if his aides gave him the news out. Of course, waiting until he got back.
His jokes are not funny.
Can you imagine the rage divots he left behind? It's probably why Rudy Giuliani always looks like that. He gave Trump some bad news once, and there's still a 9-iron wedged up his ass. So clearly, Biden supporters and same people everywhere got to enjoy a well-earned national moment of catharsis as the results came in. Now let's check in on the other side and see how they're taking news.
President Trump should not concede. It was stolen.
The media is desperately trying to get everyone to coordinate Joe Biden as the next president.
I think he would have to do a lot to convince Republicans that this is anything except a left-wing power grab financed by people like George Soros. I think that it is a corrupt, stolen...
So, something that I find very, 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 very disturbing about this video is the fact that he's spent 4 minutes and 45 seconds just talking nothing, and then he cuts to this, like a clip, a couple clips of Fox News and whatever, claiming election fraud, and while those places are obviously spreading bullshit, like I could point to this, how the Times called officials in every state and nobody's found any fraud. I can also point to this, how Dan Patrick is so desperate to, how he's so desperate to be right that he's offering $1 million, but the thing is, like, you don't offer $1 million when you know you're gonna lose it. So he must know that it's bullshit, or he's just really fucking desperate. And these people are citing like pseudo reasons, like factual reasons for it, and he's provided nothing. And I haven't seen this video yet, but I'd be willing to bet he provides nothing in the second 2/3 of this video. Like, that is just not gonna happen.
The man you may remember from the 1980s is gone. He no longer exists. What remains is a projection of sorts, a hologram designed to mimic the behavior of a non-threatening political candidate. These people seek absolute sameness, total uniformity. You're happy with Starbucks every day forever, no matter how it tastes.
But when that hologram drinks coffee, what do you think happens? It splashes right to the ground. Because holograms don't have real stuff. They're not. Carl thinks Joe Biden is a hologram, wants to make you drink Starbucks every day. And I'm sorry, but when is the Starbucks for liberals myth going to die? Are we supposed to believe Tucker only drinks campfire coffee out of a prospector's den? And by the way, anyone who thought things would go back to normal. Just a reminder, Fox News called Biden a hologram who wants to force you to drink Starbucks, and he's been president-elect for 2 days. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when Biden's actually in office, if Republicans hang on to control the Senate? Who knows if they'll even let him have a cabinet? Sean Hannity will probably accuse Biden of building a secret Soros-funded Amtrak station on the moon. But you know what?
See, he did nothing to address the whole election fraud thing. Nothing.
Well, about Republicans, one thing clear. clear is they're tough guys who don't cry like liberals. So if anyone can handle a bruising emotional defeat like this one, it's the Republican Party.
And this is one of the things I'm just give people time.
Fire coffee out of a prospector's tin mug. And by the way, to anyone who thought things were going to go back to normal once Trump is gone, just a reminder, Fox News called Biden a hologram who wants to force you to drink Starbucks, and he's been president-elect for 2 days. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when Biden's actually in office, if Republicans hang on to control of the Senate? Who knows if they'll even let him have a cabinet? Sean Hannity will probably accuse Biden of building a secret Soros-funded Amtrak station on the moon. But you know what? Say what you will about Republicans. One thing they make clear is they're tough guys.
I really genuinely can't tell if that's tongue-in-cheek or not. Like, his delivery, even though I'm watching it at 2x speed, his delivery is garbage. So it's like, is he being serious?
Don't cry like liberals. So if anyone can handle a bruising emotional defeat like this one, it's the Republican Party.
And this is one of the things I'm just give people time.
Yes.
I mean, he's just found out that he's probably not going to be the president of the United States here. I mean, you could say, well, it was in the cards. But the votes are...
Oh yeah, it was tongue-in-cheek for a setup for this. All right.
I think the decent thing to do is let the president himself take the time he wants to absorb this. It is not easy, and it is extraordinarily close. So if the president needs to take a few days, maybe even longer, to absorb, ultimately accept, and I think he ultimately will accept the outcome of the people, you have to allow that to happen.
Truly incredible. The liberal tears crowd, the people who spent 4 years building an entire around trickery, their political opponents need a warm blanket and a cup of Earl Grey tea to cope with losing a presidential election. They literally wore shirts that said, your feelings. Yes, your feelings. But my feelings? You make love. But my feelings. This isn't just a case of hurt feelings or wounded egos. This is the beating heart of Trumpism, the paranoid, authoritarian belief that your political
So far, he's done nothing. So far, he's done nothing to disprove the.
on paper, over 300 electoral votes. Meanwhile, Trump is the only president in history to be impeached, lose the popular vote, and be denied a second term. He's going to be the answer to a trivia question for the rest of his life. Oh man, I know this one guy used to. His name was on buildings. Golf guy. I knew I should have gotten stoned before trivia night. Again, Trump is not unique. For example, last night he retweeted a clip from Fox News in which Ken Starr, the special prosecutor from the Clinton impeachment, suggested that counting votes was itself illegal.
To count every vote may be a crime. It may even be a crime under federal law. It's definitely a crime under state law. If that is, then here's the key word.
Why does he keep posting Republicans saying shit, but he never
and selling a lot of T-shirts.
substance like if you're gonna post count what the other side is saying, then you better fucking disprove it. Otherwise, you're only harming what you're only harming your own point. And apparently, these people don't fucking understand it. It's basic debate 101.
T-shirts. All Trump does is the entire Trump campaign. The merch table. They have hats.
This whole thing is like an advertisement to the other side.
Even in Trump Pence.
See, he did nothing. He doesn't disprove anything. It's just making it worse. I'm not a fan of cancel culture. I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. You say what you want, and now I know what you think. Well, there's this thing like platforming, where you give somebody an audience they otherwise wouldn't have had, and so that's different from cancel culture. That's the whole point of platforming. If you're good at it, if you platform a bad idea or something that's false, but you don't disprove it, then you're just platforming it. You're not debunking it. You're not shooting it down. And this video's really bad because all it's doing is just platforming those wrong bullshit ideas and conspiracies. But it just it does that, but then it's ADD and just goes this way to a whole different subject. And so the viewer is watching it and it's not knowing anything about politics, and they're I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know why he's talking about Trump Pence pet leash when they were talking about fraud. And it makes you seem not serious. It makes you seem not genuine. It makes you seem like you don't have an argument. It's like, no, you're fat. When someone says something, that is your kind of argument. It's horrible. It just doesn't do any good for your side. It doesn't do anything good but the thing is, rich people, deep down, they're just conservatives that like gay people. They're just conservatives that like black people. Like that's really all it is. They're still gonna oppress the poor people just as much. And this guy's in that crowd. So he doesn't debunk anything because he ultimately doesn't give a shit. I mean, also not to mention that, you know, he's part of a major corporation, which, I mean, they're not gonna say anything substantive anyways, because the corporations don't want you to really know what's going on. They don't want you to have any actual understanding of how politics work.
Which just... Mr. President, I would prefer if we didn't have the leash on the website. Oh, you know, I hear you, Mike, and I'm going to take that under consideration right after you fetch this ball for me. But I appreciate Ken Starr revealing the ideological core of the Republican Party, their fundamental belief that counting every vote is a crime. They believe the democratic process is illegitimate. That's why they're manufacturing deranged fantasies of systemic voter fraud without evidence. Even when pressed for evidence, they can't provide any.
I know this city has a sad history of voter fraud. After all, Joe Frazier is still voting here. Kind of hard since he died 5 years ago, but Joe continues to vote. If I recall correctly, Joe was a Republican, so maybe I shouldn't complain. But we should go see if Joe is voting Republican or Democrat now from the grave. In Philadelphia, they keep the votes of dead people secret.
Anytime Rudy does a press conference, I half expect him to be trailed by an IV stand and a nurse holding a little couple of pills. One of these days, he's going to be interrupted halfway through by an orderly yelling, "Rudy, there you are. Free time is right. The lights out at 8, Rudy." I'll make some very good points. Can I finish making my very good points? It's crazy, though, because that's the same press conference where Rudy found out the networks had all called the race for Trump, and this was his response.
What was it called by? Oh my goodness, all the networks. Wow. All the networks.
You know, Rudy doesn't think it's official until it's called by the Texaco Star Theater. Sounds like he's on the phone with Time Warner customer service. All right, sir, we have several packages available. Which channels would you like?
All the networks.
By far the best thing about this press conference was not what Rudy said, but where he said it. It brings us to the absolutely top part of the weekend. Honestly, it was almost as good.
Another unfunny, but another super unfunny joke.
Total landscaping.
To be fair, that was pretty hilarious. That 4 Seasons landscaping.
Announced they had no connection to either Trump or the landscaping company. It's like if Trump announced he was holding a big rally at the Lincoln Memorial, deleted it, then announced he was holding a big rally at a Lincoln dealership. So how did this absolutely incredible moment in history happen? The Trump team was reportedly looking for a friendly part of town to hold the press.
His joke. Oh my god. He literally used his metaphorical example. His metaphorical example was literally the exact same as what actually happened in real life. Like, that's... How could anyone find this funny? 12 minutes, nothing. No debunking of anything, nothing. Nothing substantive.
Drowned out by Biden supporters, but according to the New York Times, aides told the president on Saturday morning they attended location for the news conference, and he misunderstood, assuming it was an upscale hotel. But I think it was even dumber. I think Trump said, "Do it at the Four Seasons," and one of his chucklehead henchmen just glanced at the Philly phone book, saw Four Seasons, dialed the number before he saw Total Landscaping, and they just rolled with it because nobody could have made a mistake in that fake macho basement call. It's just the best. He thought he was getting a fancy hotel, and instead he got a landscape. This isn't the first time this has happened to Rudy. If you've ever seen him sleeping in a courtyard, it's because he thought he was booking a room at Courtyard by Marriott. These benches are so comfortable. When's the turnover? Plus, they have all the networks. And it just keeps getting better. Once you learn what else was near the landscaping company, again, this is where the president's lawyer press conference alleging a scheme of wide-scale voter fraud to undermine an election.
Originally, the president billed this press conference as taking place at the Four Seasons Hotel in downtown Philadelphia. But it actually ended up being held in the back of 4
I'm only watching this to see if he does anything substantive. He's not going to, though.
Island adult books across from the Delaware Valley Cremation Center.
That's right. They held a press conference at a landscaping company next to an adult book and a cremation center. So it was one-stop shopping for Rudy. This is great. I get my head, pick up a porno mag, and then get cremated. I can't wait to pick up. The only thing missing from this scene was a story called Metaphors Are Us. Such a fitting way for the Trump presidency to end. They tried to stage a deranged press conference to undermine our scene ended, and a humiliating spectacle brought on by their own incompetence. 5 years ago, this whole nightmare started in the Golden Tower in Manhattan. Now it's ended. And yet, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell refused to accept the outcome of the election as well, despite the clear results with no evidence of fraud whatsoever. The president did virtually the entire delegitimize the election and blow. Clearly, the deep political system and Trump's rise is not unique, and fixing that is a bold systemic change. So we'll be watching on this network and on
All the networks.
This has been a closer look.
That is the most useless video. And what's crazy is these people, this thing has 2.3 million views. All of these people literally watched nothing. And they got political jokes. So like some of these people have like a mild understanding of something because not really. I'm joking. Identity politics. He is a president, not a child who lost his goldfish, blah, 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 blah. Okay. He doesn't represent hero in the dark field of Twisted Soul's cult. Wait, that one's like mediocre. Somebody's quoting Seth Meyers, getting rid of Trump is just a quality of life issue. You got nothing else to say? None of these people have anything else to say? What the fuck is that? A tantrum? Are you trying to make a pun on tantrum? Seriously? Like, these people, like, they have...
God's lovely deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals.
This is so bad. It sucks because they have such a massive audience. And these people are gonna get swayed like the wind. Because you don't give them anything. You give them nothing. So they'll just float on in the wind. They're literally training people for partisan hackery. Like, it's sad.